It's Choose Your Own Adventure Friday, and the adventure I've chosen for you is to go down the Facebook rabbit hole. We're going to look at a post that's garnered over 1,000 comments and angered the Carnival faithful. So much so that I feel like you might want to hear about how Carnival is a floating Motel 6. Let's roll the intro. It's going to be spicy. Welcome to the Midships channel. I'm your Captain Corey. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel today. As the weekend draws close, I hope you had an amazing week, but now we've got to turn our attention to a Facebook post that has the Carnival faithful all riled up. They're very angry at this first-time cruiser, and maybe rightly so. A lesson I learned a long time ago when I was but a wee Captain Corey living with mommy and daddy was not to insult something that somebody loves. In this case, that would apply to not going into a Facebook group that exists solely for fans of Carnival Cruise and trashing the cruise line. And as you'd imagine, it went just about how you'd think for the lady who did it. So let's look at this post. This person calls themselves Polly Pocket, and I'm going to blur the rest of their info to protect their privacy. Never again, horrible trip, my first cruise in 28 years of marriage. I don't know what that has to do with anything. And it was terrible. Never got off the boat. I was so hurt. Carnival, you ruined my vacation. I paid so much money for my husband, and I had our chance to go on our anniversary. First time doing anything away from our children because we have an autistic child. We finally had a chance to get away, and we expected something different. Okay, hang on. Let's pause here. I paraphrased a little bit of what this was earlier because, well, strictly speaking, it's not really written in the clearest of language. So far, the key takeaway, though, is this is a first-time cruise for this couple who's been married for a long time, which in today's day and age is hard to find, so props, Polly, on that. And it sounds like at home, well, they may have a lot going on with care and health care for one of their children. So obviously a cruise vacation would sound like a week in paradise for a family like Polly's, or, well, a lot of families in general. Now let's turn to the meat and potatoes of the complaint here put out on Facebook. The only thing that was good on your ship was the food and the waiters. The lifeguards and the staff were great. However, being stuck at sea for 2 or 3 days and not being able to enjoy my trip, not getting off of the boat, stuck on the boat for days, this was terrible, terrible, terrible.
That's terrible.
I will never book with you again. I will tell everybody never to blank with you again. Your boat was hood, it was ratchet, it was ghetto, it was unsanitary. Oh boy, as a person who sailed on that ship that Polly Pocket is on here complaining about, I never experienced that the ship was, quote, hood, quote, ratchet, or, quote, ghetto, or unsanitary. That's a complete different experience than the one I had. And I've been on the Liberty within the past 12 months. I've been on the Liberty multiple times, as a matter of fact. I do agree, though. The food is fantastic. It's actually been some of the best Carnival cruise food I've had. It may actually be the very best Carnival food I've ever experienced. As far as the ship being unsanitary, well, I kind of wonder if Polly's just referring to the fact that it's an old cruise ship. I mean, the Liberty's going on 20 years old at this point. It's not quite there, but it's getting kind of close. It's like 18 or 19. So I could see someone who's never been on a cruise before getting on board an older ship and seeing something that's got some rust here and there. I mean, the dang thing has been in the ocean for 20 years. Are you surprised? And along with an older ship comes things like older decor from the era from which the ship was built. I totally get not digging the vibe on some of the older Carnival ships. I don't love it either, but it doesn't ruin a cruise. I mean, come on, that's a little crazy. Let's get back into the post. Okay, here's some potentially actual complaints that are valid. Someone threw up in the pool. Security was called 1,000 times, which I'm assuming is not quite true. There was no order on the ship whatsoever. I paid so much money so my husband can have a good time, and we decided to go on your cruise because we heard we would have a good time, and we didn't even get off the ship. Yes, I was returning my money for the clamshell and the excursion, but kept the bunny. What? Look, this is kind of hard for me to read. I don't know if this was like a text-to-speech post. Back to the post. Your rooms were dilapidated and falling apart. The drawers fell apart. My husband had to put them back together. It was a Motel 6 on a ship. That's what it felt like to us. I've stayed in hotels much better than this, and I will never ever tell anyone to go on another cruise from Carnival Liberty again. I've never seen so many disappointing people ever. I was so disappointed, and your workers looked terrible. They looked overworked, they looked exhausted. As much money as you make off of this cruise line, couldn't you give them somewhere to sit in the crew section? Wait a second. Okay, a first-time cruiser, I don't expect you to know, but the crew actually have areas on the ship in which they live when they're not working. They have a thing like a bar. They have places to have entertainment. They have places to swim and relax. They even have bedrooms to sleep in. I know, shocking, right? I'm gonna tell everybody not to go on the ship. It's dilapidated, it's rusting everywhere, it's disgusting. I don't even think the lifeboats work. I'm disgusted by Carnival Liberty. Okay, so we have a first-time cruiser, never cruised before, who books on a fairly old cruise ship. Now, I did some investigating. It looks like Polly and her husband stayed in a balcony room. And from the looks of it, I mean, it's any room on an old Carnival ship. Probably a little bit worn around the edges, probably not decorated to how most people would decorate or enjoy, but probably not the end of the world for a place to sleep on your cruise vacation. If you ask me, I know there's going to be some people who say, well, I'm spending thousands of dollars. I expect the best. And I get your argument. And if that's you should book on a brand new ship. That's an easy thing to do. And the other thing you should do is your research before your cruise. In the year of our Lord 2023, there are zero excuses for showing up on a cruise ship and being surprised by what your room looks like. You know why? Because it's absolutely free to go on YouTube or Google, type out Carnival Liberty cabin tour or ship tour. As a matter of fact, you could even go to a website like Cruise Deck Plans and see pictures of the cabin that you want to stay in. Pictures going back all the way 10 years or more. Pictures as new as this year are all posted on that website. So when I see a post like this of someone coming into a cruise line fan group complaining about that which everybody loves, after clearly not informing themselves ahead of time, I don't feel all that bad for you. But I do feel bad that you didn't spend at least 5 minutes ahead of your cruise going to the Midships Amazon store to make sure you are geared up specifically for your trip, your cruise you're taking. You can buy things like wall hooks for your cabin, luggage tag holders, or some amazing cruise t-shirts. Oh, and the cool thing is you'd support my work in the process. Check it out. There's a link in the description below if you want to look at it. So, needless to say, the Carnival faithful have sprung into action over this post, with over 1,000 comments as of the time of this recording. Now, most of them, as you would imagine, are fairly snarky, with one person saying, "Oh, Karen, I've been wondering where you were." Other posters quickly called out the fact that Carnival Cruise Line didn't just make a hurricane appear to upset the people on the ship and keep them from going to port. And perhaps the most prescient comment of the whole bunch belongs to Tay Brown, who said, "I'm still trying to find out exactly what was Carnival's fault. LOL. The big takeaway from this is somebody was big mad because they didn't get to enjoy their vacation because a hurricane came through and disrupted their plans. For that, Polly, I am sorry, but that's just not how the world works. You don't always get your way. Okay, y'all do your things down in the comment section. I just know. Some of you are itching to say your piece. I can't wait to read it. Please, though, be respectful down there. If you made it this far into today's episode, please subscribe to the channel. Right there, while you're down there subscribing, do me a huge favor, slam that thumbs up button if you still think you're going to go on a Carnival cruise again, even though the ships get rusty in the ocean. Thanks for stopping by the channel today, and until next time, we'll see ya on the Midships.